All right. What's good with the YouTube Accomplish Perspective? It's your boy Flacco and my co-host Senor Rojo sliding through, smashing through with a little bit of energy, man. As you guys can see, I'm on my excursion right now, traveling, but I decided to tap in real quick with Senor Rojo, drop you this banging content, this fire we're about to spit, man, and hopefully have a message and at the same time be entertaining for the listeners out there, man. How you doing, Rojo?
I'm all right, man. Shit, just chilling, brother. Well, today what we got, man, is while we've been talking about, stepping outside of our realm and talking about these MCs, these motorcycle clubs, a lot of people have asked about the original, the main source of conflict, that has appeared lately between the Mongols and the HAs, and it's been a while, but it's about the casino. And I got this article, man, from the Washington Post. Keep in mind, this is an older article, man, so this isn't current news or anything like that, man, but for those who wanted to hear it, here it is. 4 dead as bikers brawl in Nevada casino. Members of 2 rival motorcycle gangs fought at a casino here early this morning, leaving 3 gang members dead at the casino, 1 dead along an interstate, and 12 other people seriously injured. The brawl, which involved 60 to 70 people, broke out during an annual bikers event that draws tens of thousands of roaring Harleys and Hondas to this riverside gambling town. Witnesses on the crowded casino floor at Harris recalled hearing gunshots and then watching, terror-stricken, as a melee unfolded around 2:15 in the morning between members of the Hells Angels and the Mongols. We do have a lot of number, that's what it says here, I'm just repeating it, of suspects in custody, including at least 1 shooter who was arrested with his weapon, said Lieutenant Vincent Canito of the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. Authority says the death toll made it the state's worst casino shooting. The killings took place during the 20th annual River Ride, which brings as many as 100,000 riders and spectators to this desert outpost along the Colorado River in the southern tip of Nevada, which is about 70 miles southeast of Las Vegas. People said that multiple shots were fired and that some of the gang members also went after each other with knives, bar stools, and fists. The melee was captured by the casino's video cameras. 2 police officers discharged their weapons, 1 accidentally during an arrest and 1 during a gunfight with the brawlers. Authorities said the accidental shot is not believed to have hit anyone, but they would not discuss the outcome of the other shot. Several hundred additional law enforcement agents poured into the area after the fight broke out, and police closed highways and the bridge that connects Laughlin to Bullhead City, Arizona. Late this afternoon, Harris was still in lockdown, with guests escorted from the casino and the hotel as police continued to search from room to room for other possible members of the gang or victims. Scores of officers from Nevada and Arizona have been deployed to Laughlin this weekend to provide extra security for the gathering. Today, police SWAT teams and dozen more officers were dispatched there to avert another round of violence. We're throwing every available resource at this. We want to make sure we're beefed up here, said Terso Dominguez, a spokesman for the Los Angeles Metropolitan Police Department, which patrols Laughlin. Dominguez said 2 men died inside the casino and 1 died outside. Their names have not been released. A 4th victim was found dead along Interstate 40 this morning near San Bernardino, California. The police suspect the killing is related because the man, a motorcycle gang member, had been shot. Police said they have interviewed 200 witnesses and other possible suspects, and they expect to make multiple more arrests. Witnesses says the fighting broke out as 60 to 70 bikers suddenly converged on the casino floor. Next thing you know, you just hear bam, bam, bam. Denise Massey, 48, told the Associated Press. She was gambling with her fiance on the first floor of Harris. All of a sudden, they're running and just shooting at each other. Chris Welton, 42, of Carson City, told reporters shots just started going off. There were dead bodies, pretty nasty. There was a guy about 10 feet from me. He was dead. His buddy was trying to revive him. Canito said the brawls began when a member of the Mongols motorcycle gang got into a verbal altercation with several Hells Angels, and then it went from bad to worse, said Canito, who described the bikers involved as the notorious 1%ers, meaning the 1 in 100 motorcycle enthusiasts who claim membership in so-called outlaw gangs such as the Hells Angels. We're not mincing words, Canito said. These are bad guys. It doesn't matter how many toy runs they do, they are still outlaws and often criminal gangs. The police officer was referring to the motorcycle club practice of collecting toys for children before Christmas, riding around with teddy bears and wrap packages and delivering them to hospitals or children's homes. Today's violence mars a culture that draws overwhelming number of law-abiding, peaceful weekend warriors who enjoy riding their fancy Harley Fat Boys and showing off their gleaming chrome machines. Most of the riders here, in fact, appear to be middle-aged male and sporting a paunch. Those are club riders. Those aren't bad boys and gangbangers, said Jeffrey Schwartzman, an insurance agent from Phoenix who was attending the river ride with his wife. Schwartzman explained that for all the leather chaps and dangling chains, most riders live normal, boring lives going to work and taking the kids to soccer practice. During the river ride, most of the bikers simply drive their loud machines up and down the casino drive or park their motorcycles and visit the tents and booths selling t-shirts, cold beer, and motorcycle wear. From the days when an outlaw biker invaded towns as Marlon Brando and the company did in the movie The Wild Ones, today's relatively affluent and family-orientated bikers are heartily welcomed. And the event is co-sponsored by local municipalities, which figured to reap in about $7 million in spending over the weekend. Bullhead City and Laughlin are very safe communities, said Bullhead City spokesman Toby Cotter. 99% of the River Run participants are doctors, lawyers, teachers, and other outstanding citizens. They come from all over the country to take part in our great weather, desert security, and entertainment. Police said that, in addition to the dead, 12 other people were injured in the fighting. University Medical Center in Las Vegas was treating 5 patients, 3 of whom were in serious condition with gunshot and stab wounds. One victim was in critical condition with a skull fracture, while another is in fair condition with gunshot and stab wounds. Western Arizona Regional Medical Center in Bullhead City was treating 7 fight victims. 2 were in critical condition while undergoing surgery, and the other 5 were listed in fair condition. This afternoon, the rolling convention continued. The Doobie Brother concerts are still on, and Shelley Baldwin, a rider from Las Vegas, planned to enjoy the rest of the weekend. A few bad apples won't spoil the party. And while most motorcyclists lead law-abiding lives, law enforcement authorities say that some members of outlaw gangs are violent criminals. The most recent incident occurred in February at the Hollister Ball, an indoor motorcycle and tattoo expo in Plainview, New York. 1 man was killed and 10 others were injured in a fight between the Hells Angels and a rival gang, the Pagans, authorities said.
That was an interesting article, Rojo. I mean, I think we all remember when this incident happened back in 2002. It was like a big incident because, you know, one thing is for these particular groups, MC clubs, whatever you want to call it, man, you know, the commitment that they had to, you know, engage with their enemy and opposition that goes through like years and years of battles and conflicts over who's representing what patch in California, man. I mean, these guys had no remorse, you know what I'm saying, as far as, or no care is a better word. Their commitment for their particular group, their patch, for the location where this happened, in front of hundreds of witnesses, in front of cameras. And, you know, it's not like they weren't out there on Front Street. They were all wearing the same vest. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This incident kind of just rocked the whole biker world and just the underworld in general, because even out there in San Jose, out there, the NF, they were out there talking about this issue. You know what I mean? Especially with the migration of a few Mongols that were out there in San Jose. Like I said before, there occurred a little bit of conflict and there was interactions between the NF and the Hells Angels at that time. So this just kind of, when this incident, we're like, wow, these guys ain't playing around. That level of commitment, you know what I mean? It just was felt throughout the state, man. And it was all you heard or was talked about in the streets was this one incident.
Yeah, you know, man, what you were saying about them being a lot of cameras in there, bro. I mean, that's crazy. I wouldn't even imagine doing something. No, man, the casinos have 10 times more cameras than a damn bank does. You know what I mean? Every couple feet there's a camera in that thing. And back in my, when I was out there doing my thing, selling whatever I was selling and whatnot, there's so many times I've ran into people at the casinos gambling that owe me a bunch of money. It's like, you're offended. You walk in there and they're gambling. It's like, you owe me money and you're gambling, and there's just nothing you could do about it in the casino. You know what I mean? Yeah. And people are smart. They would just sit in there. I'd be outside waiting in the parking lot for a couple hours, bro. They'd never come out. You know what I mean? And it's just, I would never think for anything to make me that angry or have such a rivalry that I would put myself on that much of a blast. Because once you come into one of them parking lots or parking garages, bro, they got you, bro. Them cameras that they use in them casinos are insane. They can shoot in right on your hand and tell what your hand is. You know what I mean? In cars, you think they can't read your license plate, your tags? You know, you show your ID for some of the casino, they could zoom right in on your ID. They already got your whole picture. You know what I mean? It's crazy, bro.
I'm going to bring up an incident, right, with that I seen, right, that I witnessed, right. Their level of commitment and preparation between these two groups, right. They're okay. The Hollister Run, we all know about that one. You know what I mean? The Marlon Brando famous movie, The Wild Ones. They have a bike run there once a year around the summertime. Always been traditionally a red and white stronghold. So we were out there during that event, man. We had one year we had a rap show that ended up being in San Juan Bautista. And then another time we ended up having a tattoo convention. Our tent was right next to the Hells Angels. You know what I'm saying? And a couple of the Garnales that were there, man, they were interacting with some of the red and white at the time, and they felt like they were trying to be recruited by red and white. That was like the joking thing, right? But you should see the level of change in all the demeanors. It went from everybody having a good time, everybody just being positive, you know, trying to promote a message and be supportive. When they heard the rumor that there were some Mongols coming into town, all these HA got serious. And you just seen like the pipeline of Cali. They're all letting each other know, and they're all preparing in case they enter that show.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I could never see us, right? Like, we were supposed to use discretion and discreet. You know what I mean? We wouldn't attend certain functions. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, we may go out to Cinco de Mayo to, like, you know, a festival or something like that, right? But we're not going to be posted up with 30, 40 brothers. You know what I mean? It just wasn't going to be seen. You know what I'm saying? But that's why, in some ways, they're allowed to do these things, because I thought about it. I read that New York Post article. I read it, right? And I read some things to where when they got indicted, they got certain charges dropped because they weren't able to prove that they were a gang based on the fact that they were an MC club. And that's the same thing with us. When we step out to the street, we don't want to be classified as gang members either, as street gangs. You know what I'm saying? So when people use the MC club patch, right, it allows them to do certain things out there in the community and be recognized without being labeled a gang member. Therefore, if they ever get indicted or caught up on a criminal case, they can say, no, we're not a gang, we're a club. And they're able to function under the radar. I know you're smiling because you feel me on that, man. I read that in an article. Right? New York Times, man. You guys check it out, man. Where they got upset because one of the persons who testified against them, who shot the gun off, you know what I mean, allowed to elaborate that it was criminal activities involved in their functions. You know what I'm saying? So when I see people in the comments that attack you for using the word gang, of course you want to put out the word club. Because you put out the word club, they can't go after you after any type of gang enhancements or injunctions. So it's a smart move. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter really what you call yourself, club, association, none of that kind of stuff, because you're gonna be whatever they label you during that trial. And that's the point I'm trying to reiterate. Just like I tell everybody, you know, you don't want to be in that gang life, you don't want to be this and you don't want to be that. Well, you don't want to be something that, you know, you go into thinking it's a club and then you end up with a RICO, just like, you know, a northerner, a southerner, or whatever group, and you just think you're going into something different because it's labeled as a club. I mean, we could call ourselves the, you know, the Broadway sports team, you know, and be a gang. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just trying to reiterate to people who may or may not know that you could come up with whatever facade, name, description, title, whatever you want to name yourselves. That doesn't matter. What matters is the grand jury and the United States attorney. You know what I'm saying? That's what really matters when it comes down to it. Yeah, you could represent yourself as this, and that's great. Represent yourself however you want it to. If you think it's a club, think it's a club. That is your opinion. But your opinion is not going to matter as much as the United States attorneys and the judges, I promise you.
And a lot of these groups, right? Let's be honest too, right? A lot of them, their members don't engage in criminal activities.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lot of them are just regular men. They pay their monthly dues, whatever, you know what I mean? To support their club, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But all it takes is the same thing. Like, not every North Daniel out there is engaged in criminal activities either.
That's
Some
what I
of
was
them
just
are
gonna say.
family,
Yeah,
some of them are family men that are taking care of their kids. They're not gangbanging out there in the streets. They have union jobs. Some of them, you know
yeah,
what I mean? But if their association never comes out, they're going to be labeled based upon the group that they align themselves with. Because the term Norteño has not necessarily never been a gang.
right.
It's an association of where you're from. It's their representation. Your gang would usually be your street gang.
Yeah,
It's the same thing. It's the same thing that would be in the NR format. We're not a gang or a prison gang or nothing. We're an organization. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
everybody wants to put different labels and titles, but they're all titles and labels are meaningless. They only apply to what you want to consider them. You know what I'm saying? But the bottom line, like you said, is what is the U.S. attorney? What is that grand jury? What is that jury trial going to label you when it comes back a guilty plea? But they got that case dropped though.
yeah,
Only six people got found guilty, I think, or received time, and but they couldn't prove the gang injunctions, which is, that's a good thing, man. I mean, they had good lawyers and they fought it right. I mean, using the MC Club title is a smart thing because I don't think that I've never labeled them as a criminal organization. What I've always considered them is all biker groups. It's just like any group. There's going to be people within those groups that are committed to organized crime. There's going to be a lot of individuals that are not committed to organized crime that are still affiliated, whether it's legitimate businesses or just association or even membership that are not engaged in criminal activities. But when you have a track record past, you know what I'm saying? The same way many of us, we're always going to be labeled based upon the past. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
But as things change, as evolution changes, you can see all the changes in all these groups now. A lot of them are businessmen, and they've taken a little bit of different direction. You hear more about criminal activities in certain areas, but those are just by certain members. But let's get back to this Laughlin case, man. Well, I mean, what do you think about it, bro?
I've seen a lot of the videos and I've read all the articles and stuff, man. I mean, there's nothing atypical about it. It's standard. Hey, you guys don't like each other already. You've been down there drinking in casinos and on your bike riding stuff all day. I mean, it's bound to happen. I mean, I don't really think it's nothing more out of the ordinary. The only reason this case made so much of the news is because there were so many people involved, and it was in such a public forum. You know what I mean? Where it went down. Other than that, it's typical, man. When opposing groups are going to meet, things like that are going to happen. But when you got 100,000 people in Vegas, which is already packed because of this biker thing, and who knows if they might have had a boxing match or a UFC fight or something going on too. There might have been, 1 million people in and around the strip. And that's a lot of publicity, a lot of things, and people are getting killed right with 1,000 cameras.
This incident was in Laughlin, though.
The incident, I'm talking about the incident that happened inside the casino at Harris.
Oh, okay. There's been so many different incidents that have happened, man. Even the Bay Area was affected. Didn't they kill the president like how long ago out there? And what was this?
Remember, it's been a minute. Yeah,
they've had a lot of tick for tack, man, over these conflicts, man.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, it's weird because man, I've never, like, in real life seen a Mongol personally. I've only seen HAs. You know what I mean? I've seen banditos and I've never seen a Mongol. I mean, that's just me personally.
I have out there in San Jose at the Music in the Park. I seen two of them. One was Mexican, one was white. And didn't have no issues, man. But like a couple weeks later, there was some conflict out there that was going on in San Jose, and that was because of the recruitment. The same thing that was going on that they were having issues up down south was the same thing going on up north. They tried to establish a stronghold out there in the San Jose area. And a lot of the recruits ended up being dudes that were no longer Norteños, that were inactive. You know what I'm saying? They were trying to set it up. They were kicking out a couple bars out there. I mean, someone mentioned it, the Fat Cat. I heard that back then. I mean, but they weren't really causing no real serious uprise to where there was just a time frame to where they weren't, like, how do you say it? They weren't really a threat. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was bigger issues on the table out there, but there was a couple conflicts, but it was more of a thing like, if the street gang members want to handle it out there, just go ahead and handle it. I mean, I've never personally had any issues with either one of these groups. And I just, when I was doing my thing, I kind of had, I knew we had interactions with the red and white, right? That's been they've always had a long, extensive history with working with different groups, man. But the other group, no, I've had no experience, man. None at all.
Yeah, I've dealt with the HAs, man, and it's all been on, some less than appropriate means. You know what I mean? And that's why, I kind of shake my head that that it's not referred to as a gang, because I've done a lot of dealings with them, and they've all been things that would get people in prison. You know what I mean? And if I wear a red paño and you wear a red paño, and I'm doing this stuff, and we say we're from the same paño, we're going to jail, man. If you guys are in the same jackets, whether you behave or not, you're going to jail as well,
And we
because
tried to put,
you're getting grouped, man. And it's, I don't like to be disrespectful and say gang or nothing like that, because I call it a club too. It is what it is. But like what I say is only for information to keep people out of trouble, bro. That's it. All I'm trying to
that's
do
the
is
whole
keep the
thing,
next man
man.
from making a mistake.
I totally agree, man. I mean, because we even try to push that out there, that, within the Norteño collective, like, let's not let Norteños be identified as a gang, because we understand the repercussions and reprisal actions that happen, especially with all the different injunctions. More than 3 is considered a gang.
Yeah. See, when I used to wear red and shit, it was because that's what I grabbed out of the closet. It wasn't because I was out to promote myself or anything like that. I didn't want anybody to know who I was. My homeboys knew who I was, and that was it. And that's how I like to keep it,
Yeah.
I'd be dressed like a regular dude, just mingling in traffic, bro,
Yeah.
But to each their own, but yeah, my thing, I don't intend no disrespect to no motorcycle organization at all. I don't have nothing. It's irrelevant to me. But my message is only to keep people from, being ignorant to the laws and shit, man.
No matter what, there's always going to be someone that could be offended, man.
Yeah, for sure.
No matter what, man. Like, you could try to come on here and I can sit there and tell people, like, look, man, I don't have all the answers to all these 1%ers. I don't know that lifestyle. I've had vague interactions. This is just my perspective.
Yeah.
It's coming from one that, was affiliated with a criminal organization up north, you know what I mean? With the NF, that has a different understanding of the politics, and had some interactions, and I can separate the differences of how we function and how you function. But the end thing, like you said clearly, is what's the end result of everything? You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't matter if you want to label yourself a club, a crew, a gang. You know what I'm saying? It's what society is going to try to label you as.
Here it is. Basically, a gang, you have to have rules. They got rules. You have to have leadership. You got a president, a vice president, a sergeant at arms, and all this other things. You have to have engaged, or your group has to have engaged in criminal activity.
That's it. You can label it however you want to label it, man.
Bro,
but
it's unarguable, bro. You know what I mean?
I mean, like, what you say last time, knitting clubs and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Bro,
Like,
yeah, if you're selling dope from your knitting club, bro, you're going to jail. I mean,
and everybody else is going to be affected. That's just that's the reality of it, man.
Yeah, I'm not going to pander, but at the same time, I just wanted to let it be known that I'm not trying to be disrespectful, man. This is educational for those who don't know, because those who do know are still trying to argue the point with me, and it's unarguable. All you got to do is look up the definition of a gang, organized crime, look up the predicates for RICO. I've been through all that, bro. I've been there.
And they've all got, and a lot of these particular groups have been indicted like that. They have felt the RICO Act.
And they're going to in the future. I mean, it's just a matter of time. It's all who they're pissed at the time, who they're gonna go after. You know what I mean?
That's very true. I mean, but this, like, let's go back to this topic for the listeners out there, man. It's interesting. Like I said, man, I've been out there, a hardcore game member, ready to put in work, do all that stuff. You know what I mean? The things I've done in public have been off the hook sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Been fortunate to get away. I mean, I've been caught as well. But when it comes to issues like this, like, I could see being in a casino and getting into a big brawl, or going to like places like the Brass Rail, or something just kicks off, or I've been to all those places in clubs, and like a little fight happens. You know what I mean? But I never could see myself being in such an open atmosphere where there's kids and family people and old people, and just start pulling out chains and knives and guns and all kinds of crazy stuff, knowing that you're going to get caught, man. That just shows the particular level that some of these individuals on both sides, because there was a few that were running, hiding in shadows, as you can see. You can see from the video. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we don't have to mention who that was. There's more than one though. We're hiding in the shadows. That's just the way of life. But there's going to be those that are willing to go full force, man. You know what I'm saying? And if you bring it, you better be ready to bring it, man. And man, you know, I would like to think that, you know, being my mindset would be this: I gotta play the tape out and look at the consequences of my actions. Okay, one thing is to get caught for doing something. Okay, yeah, I know I was doing it, but I tried to be slick about it. I tried to be discreet. I tried to be incognito. I could never, unless it was jeopardizing my family, I could never put myself at risk like that to get caught.
Neither could I. Yeah. Yeah, that's just me personally. You know, different strokes for different folks. You know.
I'd gladly take whatever I got coming, man. But I don't want to go as secure as I can, man. I wouldn't want to be out there. You know what I mean? That's like me going in there like with a shirt saying "Flacco Convicts Perspective." I start pulling out a gun and start shooting. You know what I mean? You're gonna get the same damn results. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
Anyway,
all right.
I think we pretty much said it. I think we had a little good time with this, man. No disrespect. And let's just do a quick disclaimer. When it comes to 1% MC clubs, me and Rojo don't have the most understanding of them. We only have a perspective here, convict's perspective. You know what I mean? You ask us things about the NF, we can answer those questions. No problem. You know what I'm saying? The Norteño Collective, the Norteño Movement. But when we branch out into certain topics that you guys have requested, you guys got to remember, we're coming only from a Norteño NF perspective in our interactions, our dealings. So we may not have all the answers here, but we can open it for discussion.
No doubt.
Leave them in the comments.
With that said, man, it's your boy Rojo, man, with Flacco, man. Appreciate y'all. We'll see you a little bit later.